There were a few important story beats in the Night Court Season 3 finale, but the jury's still deadlocked on the answers to some pretty big questions about the future of Abby and friends. With the direction that the Night Court cast has gone recently, questions abound both big and small how some recent developments are going to affect the future of the series. And they all feel a bit more urgent thanks to Night Court Season 4 still pending renewal. It's unfortunate that Night Court is among the TV shows facing cancellation right now, as the Season 3 finale truly does leave things in a rather interesting place. Dan and Julianne used the word friend to describe each other for the first time, Gergs finally made a noticeable difference as chief bailiff, and Jake walked into Abby's office to propose but found her being kissed by her secret husband. Suffice to say, questions abound. 9. Will Judge Nullman return as a villain in the future? Their prank war hasn't exhausted itself yet. Funnest Judge in the City, which ran as the first half of the Night Court Season 3 finale event, introduces Michael Urie as Judge Toby Nullman. A fun new antagonist to the world of Night Court, Nullman's sole duties in life are to engage in prank wars with Abby and try to steal Night Court from her. At the end of the episode, however, he vows to leave the city to become a famous judge in New Jersey. It would be a shame if he never returned, though. There's a lot of unexplored ground left to cover in Nullman's prank war with Abby, which could be the most fun running gag on the show since the Wheelers' return to Night Court. It would be a shame to end the war on little more than a few rubbery snakes and a whoopee cushion we never technically get to see. 8. Is Carl here to stay as a recurring character? Or is he locked in the morgue forever? Ray Abruzzo's Carl Santini, the tracksuit-clad former gangster that Julianne's currently dating, seemed at first introduction like a one-off character. But then he shows up in the finale, and it seems for the moment like Julianne intends to keep seeing him while Dan intends to keep hating it. But Julianne also forgets she has Carl locked in the morgue toward the end because she's too busy talking to Dan. It's hard to tell whether their relationship will last, and it may not matter. Everybody likes Carl but Dan, so he could feasibly keep sticking around the way Flaubert did when his initial arc was done. At the same time, far more important characters than Carl have been written out of Night Court entirely between seasons. Assuming Night Court Season 4 even happens, Julianne could break up with Carl over the summer hiatus if they don't feel like bringing him back. 7. When will Dan and Julianne admit their feelings for each other? There have been plenty of great opportunities. For about as long as Wendy Malick has been a regular on the show, Julianne's been the thorn in Dan Fielding's side. But in classic rom-com tradition, there's a rather clear attraction beneath the bickering. The two have hired fake dates to try and outdo each other while making the other jealous, yet they refuse to admit to any kind of attraction between them. In the Night Court Season 3 finale, they trade sarcastic jabs at the idea of even considering each other friends. This last bicker fest is actually the precise moment Julianne becomes so preoccupied with Dan that she forgets she has Carl locked inside the morgue. And the sheer transparency of Dan's jealousy since Carl started dating Julianne suggests he's almost ready to admit his feelings. It just seems like neither of them is quite there yet, but it hopefully won't take much longer. 6. When will Night Court make more of Gerg's chief bailiff promotion? She really hasn't done much with it. When comparing the differences between the Night Court revival and the original series, it's hard not to note the stark differences between Gergs and Roz. One has a ceaselessly sunny disposition and the ability to see the good in weirdness, and the other is Roz. But while Gergs was something of an acquired taste for some viewers when the revival first began, her promotion to chief bailiff gives her a new chance to shine. The problem is that the show hasn't done much to make Gerg's promotion feel like a status quo change. She held a lottery after cleaning out the evidence locker and makes a courthouse welcome video with Roz, but that's it. However, Roz tells Gergs in the first half of the Season 3 finale to trust her own instincts more often, so that hopefully means they plan on having her do more as chief bailiff in the future. 5. Will Wyatt make greater use of his bar license in Night Court Season 4? It's not clear how he fits in as more than Clark. Wyatt only got his bar license a few episodes ahead of the Night Court Season 3 finale, but he's gotten at least one chance to make use of it. Since Dan was feigning injury as part of what amounts to an act of fraud, Wyatt got to put his skills in trial law to use for the very first time by taking Dan's place as Night Court defense. It went less than smoothly, but the bigger concern is when it will happen again. It's uncertain how Wyatt can really make use of his bar license without simply replacing Dan or Julianne from time to time. With prosecution and defense occupied, it's not even clear what use Night Court has for adding a third lawyer character to the cast. Nonetheless, it would be nice if they could find a way for Wyatt's bar license to more regularly add to his character. Will Jake go through with his proposal to Abby? He's left in a pretty awkward place with it. Jake goes through the ringer trying to propose to Abby in the Night Court Season 3 finale, to the point that he starts to think the universe is telling him not to go through with it. He loses the ring, gets the wrong decoration sent, has a weird run-in with a cannibal, and all before he walks in on a man who looks like Howard Wolowitz kissing Abby in her office and claiming to be her husband. That would already be a pretty big roadblock, but sitcom couples have stayed together through arguably worse obstacles. The problem in this case is that the entire reason Jake broke up with Abby in the first place is because she lied to him about finding his cheerleading doll. If he was willing to break up with her over a lie like that, then a secret husband will require a profoundly good explanation. How has Abby hidden her marriage this long? Jake's not even the first guy she's planned to marry.